The mysteries of this world are becoming easier to solve day by day as technology gets more advanced. This makes mysteries that we can't solve just that more interesting. We're here to cover these stories and possibly lead the unsolved to be a little bit more solved. This is Unresolved Weekly.
Our first story is about the murder of Beverly JAROSZ. She went to school, hung out with her friends, and even had a boyfriend. In fact, there were plenty of men who were pining for young Beverly's affection. Things first started getting strange when she got many phone calls a day, after which a present would be left in her backyard. The most creepy and unsettling thing that happened was that her father saw a man looking into Beverly's room through her window in the middle of the night. Sadly, the man was able to get away from her father. During the time of her murder, there were 3 phone calls. One from a man named Steve Stokovich, who asked if her father was home. Another one was a call from her worried grandmother, asking if she made it back home alright. Beverly confirmed that she got home safe, but said that she had to hang up. After that, her friend Barbara stopped by her house. There was loud classical music playing from the inside. Barbara knocked on Beverly's door and heard a loud thud from inside. She left after a while, assuming that Beverly was just mad that she was late. Margie called Barbara, concerned why her 2 friends hadn't made it to her house until they contacted her grandma. Beverly's grandma went forth to contact Beverly's dad and convinced him to go home early from work to check on his daughter. When her dad eventually got home, he went upstairs and saw Beverly's corpse. The police were called soon after and said it was the most horrifying thing that they had ever witnessed. After questioning many of the boys in her school, the police only found 2 main suspects. One of them was Beverly's ex-boyfriend, Daniel Schulte, who was said to be a bad boy ex and a greaser. The other was a man named John Pallion. After being questioned by the police, John admitted to watching her in her backyard during the summer, but claimed that at the time of the murder, he was home alone. One of John's co-workers also told the police that John asked how to beat a lie detector test. While it was most likely that John was the murderer, there was simply not enough evidence to convict him.
Next on our list, we'll be moving over to Kazakhstan, home to their bizarre sleeping village. In the north of Kazakhstan, there's a small village of about 600 people. In this village, for some reason, large groups of people would just fall asleep randomly. This started from 2011 all the way to 2016, although it only started happening in groups in 2013. Scientists were sent out, but no contamination or radiation was found. Along with the uncontrollable sleep, they were said to have abnormal brain functions. In 2015, the government started moving people away from the village, and by 2016, the sleep sickness seemed to have disappeared. If someone was affected by this mysterious disease, they would act as though they were drunk and then pass out uncontrollably. The sleep would last days, sometimes even more than a week. This strange illness has disappeared, but who knows if or when it will show back up. There are 3 main theories for this. The first being carbon monoxide poisoning. This was an official theory posed by the Kazakhstan government. The theory claimed that uranium mines a couple miles away were polluting the air with carbon monoxide. The gas would travel from the mines to the village, and because of the high concentration, it would put the villagers to sleep. This theory is not well believed, as it is highly unlikely that large amounts of carbon monoxide would be able to travel that far and keep such a high concentration. The second main theory is water poisoning. The village had a single source of water, an underground water pump. This theory too involves uranium mines. It states that chemical waste from the mines could have polluted the ground and their water source, poisoning the entire village. This theory is least believed, as none of the nearby mines were proven to produce any chemical waste, and the water was tested and was not polluted. The third theory involves mass hysteria. Since the residents of that area never showed physical abnormalities, some officials claim that the town was affected by mass psychogenic illness. MPIs, where long-term anxiety turns into behavioral patterns. It spreads quickly and disappears without a trace. Overall, there is no concrete theories and this event remains a mystery.
And after a sleepy story in Kazakhstan, let's move to the lively country of Zimbabwe. In Arua, Zimbabwe, something strange had been happening in a small institution named ARIEL School. Strange meteor showers had been going on in and around there. ARIEL School housed around 100 students and staff. During midday, the children would play outside on the playground, making sure to stay away from the snake-infested patch outside of the schoolyard. The teachers stayed inside to prepare for the next classes, and sometimes house a meeting. Every day the kids had some time to be active and socialize with the other students. This is how it was every day, until one day in 1994, where 62 different children, coming from very diverse backgrounds, reported seeing what would describe the stereotypical alien, captivating them towards where they had landed, into the snake-infested area outside the schoolyard. All of the students were asked to create drawings of what they had seen. Some of the black children referred to the creatures as Swigwambe, or Toloshkes, which were rude goblins in their folklore. And the drawings included these small men that had come down in a circular craft, with long arms and legs. They had fist-sized eyes. One deviation within the children's drawings is regarding the being's hair. Some said they had dark long hair, while others said they had no hair in general. During this ordeal, some reported that they were attempting to communicate with them. The kids said that they did not open their mouth, but instead communicated with their minds. Students said different things as to what the alien's message was, but most came to one bottom line. The Earth itself is being brought down by humans, and the ecosystem needed to be saved. After this event, every student ran toward the teachers, some terrified, some screaming, and some crying. Even then, the teachers did not believe their story. They were in disbelief until they kept getting calls and calls and calls from their parents of their scared children. This made teachers very confused and left them wondering, what did really happen that day? One of the arguments that was made was the teachers were actually pulling a prank on the children. Something like this can be recreated with the right equipment. Small pranks were common to do on the children in the school, but the teachers would reveal this type of thing to them afterwards. One point I would like to make is that if the pranks were common to do in the school, were these just tests to see if the children would be skeptical, until ultimately they don't tell them it's a prank, and that would make them and hopefully the world believe. Another theory is like the last case, the chance of mass hysteria. Mass hysteria is caused by something that overexcites people, and in this case, children were the subject, and in which it's obviously going to be easier to excite them. I can see this happening if students had seen, for example, a video for the first time in their life, and it was strange and scary to see, but I find this theory less likely because of similar reports of what had happened. The last theory, of course, is that there really were UFOs that day. It's obviously the least likely, but it still has those students to back it up. And it's fun to believe.
Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed the stories we shared with you today. If not, check by next week, there might be something more interesting for you then. If you have any story suggestions, let us know by commenting. We'll be more than happy to look over them. I'm Bruce.
I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And this has been
Unresolved Weekly.